Good afternoon, traders. This is Christian Farmer, Strawberry Trade Group, and this is your end of day market recap for Wednesday, February 26th. Risk disclaimer in front of you. Everything that we're going through is for information purposes only, not giving any advice or recommendations. Everything that we're going through is for information purposes only. By the way, I've been getting a lot of nice feedback from you guys on these end of day videos. I hope they help. Clearly, like these are not easy market circumstances to deal with. Some of the things that I keep reiterating in these videos is to be patient, to have perspective, understand that we're in a very weak seasonal time of the year, which is end of February. So try to get through this week without, causing yourself so much, or any major pain in your portfolio. This always happens. As I mentioned yesterday, that we do get market corrections. We do see things, whether it's the overall S&P, whether it's, momentum names and growth names, you're going to get corrections during the year. Try not to be too dramatic about it. Try to get through it and realize that there are better times of the year. And dips in these names, in my opinion, would be welcomed and a particular good thing, in my opinion, for one of my thoughts on today's price action was, I put together my midday note, right around like from 11:30 to 12:30. And, one of the things that again, you kind of have to laugh at this stuff because, I was just kind of finishing writing it and putting out my message saying, hey, we've got good price action for the day. We don't know if it's kind of just an oversold bounce day or there's a big report that's coming out after the close, which is Nvidia, that I'm going to talk about in just a second. But I thought once again that the afternoon would be very interesting. And as soon as I finished this, finished my midday note, the market just kind of turned, and the VIX started to come up a little bit. And the VIX was down 8% at around like 11:30, 12 o'clock. And it actually turned positive for the day and went up to like 20 before it backed off at the end of the day. So it's a very whippy market. It's not easy for swing traders. Scalping and not holding positions very long, very good. Like, and I've done that. I did that with a couple of positions. I think I mentioned in yesterday's video that I went long Amazon. I sold that pre-market, and I was happy to get. That name has been pretty beaten up. I thought it might see some demand, but I didn't stay for the whole thing, because it went up further than I had sold it. But I think in this market right now, you just have to be happy with a gain and not be super greedy. That's easier said than done because everybody wants to make money in this market. So before I kind of get a little bit more into the weeds with some of the movers, Nvidia, I mean, this is pretty crazy, right? I was making a joke after hours saying, hey, what time does this name report? Joking because I know it reported. It's just the fact that it hasn't moved. And so what's the reasons for this? And I think like this is a pretty good this is a pretty good example of what's called market saturation, right? I think Zero Hedge tweeted this out before, that they were saying that there's almost everyone has a strong buy in this company. They're doing really good. Fourth quarter revenue tops analyst estimates. First quarter revenue forecast also exceeds expectations. Nvidia sees adjusted gross margin 71% this quarter. Well, that's below estimate. Sorry. So that one's a little bit below. Fourth quarter gaming networking revenues were down from a year earlier. So this is the question from that I get from very newer traders. I'm not saying that there's that many of them because I think people, which is very good, as people have learned. I don't get the same questions as I used to, but people used to say, oh my God, why isn't the stock up? They reported good earnings, right? Well, that's okay. That's great on paper, but for trading, right? Trading is more about like what is priced, what the expectations are, right? And what's priced into the stock. And there's a lot priced into the stock, right? They mentioned that there's really strong demand for their Blackwell chip, all right? And they're talking that up a lot, but the market already knows that, and the market knows that there's strong demand for this. I guess it's the question of, the issue that I have with Nvidia is that everybody's out to get them while they are the market leader and they are the biggest innovator in the space. Those are all good things, but they're also like, if you're going to get onto their platform, right, you're going to have to pay a lot of money. Like they want you to basically get onto their platform and pay software revenues. Now, everybody's trying to come out and do the same thing cheaper. We know about the DeepSeek story and all of that, but they're not the only ones. Of course, everybody wants to do this cheaper. And that's usually how it works, right? The leader sets the bar really high. And then as more and more innovation comes out, things get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, right? Think about it, for example, when you bought your first computer, how much did that cost? Right? Apple Computer and Dell were making huge money, right? Because, if the personal computer was very new. I'm going back like 20 years, 25 years, in case you're not familiar with what I'm talking about. But over time, more and more innovation comes out and the price drops as more competition comes in, to try to scoop up, where there's profits in the market. So I think that they're a great company. I just find it hard to believe that, they're going to continue to just go higher. I think that what normally happens after something like this is, you need more shakeouts and you need people to kind of forget about it. What I don't like about this market, there's things that I like about this market and there's things that I don't like. What I don't like is how much hype there is on AI, right? And everybody's coming out with their new chatbot and every other thing. Amazon announced that Alexa is going to have, a thing where it's going to be AI enabled and so forth. That's great, but I think that there's more to the world than AI. And, I'm sorry to say, and I'm not, and it is so big right now in terms of AI and what's coming out, that I don't like how the market is so dependent on it. All right. So here's where, I mean, this is very sideways looking. I think that there will be better opportunities. And I actually sold my Nvidia this week in the TTG trend portfolio. Um, I just don't know if it's going to be able to break out, being that all those things that I said. All right, so what else happened today? Well, we mentioned that there was a fade. Let's go ahead and let's look at a couple index charts just to see where we are. Really didn't not much change. Where the S&P was basically flat for the day. So right in here, we're still below the 50-day moving average. We're hanging on here, right? We're still inside the value area for the month. We should be getting a new, I don't know why I can't see a new value area for, let's see if we can do it, maybe S&P futures, maybe one other day, and you'll be able to see the value area, the developing value area for maybe I have a setting locked on here or something, but I can't see what the value area is for March yet. But I would think it's probably going to be sideways. Look at the value areas. This was December, right? So basically right around the same range, right? Notice that so if you go and you look, right, at the previous months, right, notice how most of these valuers are kind of like ascending. There's a couple that were kind of backed and filled a little bit, but notice how the last three were we're in the same range here. So we don't know, and I think this 50-day moving average is also going to be very important to see if price can maintain that. Now, we've seen a couple times before where we've gone below the 50-day moving average, and it's pretty quick when price gets back above. So I think that's what we want to see too, is we're going to want to see price get back above this 50-day moving average sooner than later, right? The more time that you spend underneath it, the more issues that you have. For example, see IWM, right? IWM went below it, fought it, try to get back, try to get back, try to get back, and it's a mess. It is a mess. And the other thing, somebody mentioned this to me on Twitter. They said, "Wow, even with the move in treasuries, like that used to be the thing, right? When yields were going higher, IWM didn't like that and went lower. Now yields are going lower, right? And here's what TLT is doing, which has been raging, but it's not affecting IWM. So why isn't this affecting IWM? Well, remember, relationships change. Sometimes things work. It could just be that people are fearing that a recession is coming. Hence, TLT is rallying, and IWM can't catch a bid, right? And it's sitting there, below the 200-day moving average, which we talked about in yesterday's video, that it's the first time since the end of 2023 that IWM is below the 200-day moving average, right? We're dealing with, a possible recession on our hands. Why do I say that when we don't have any confirmation of that? Because stock prices are forward looking, right? They're pricing in the future, right? And if this can't get going, right, and if consumer staples are going up faster than consumer discretionary. Now, notice that this had a failed breakout today, which is a good sign for one day. But these are things that we're still going to want to keep an eye on, right? We know that that if consumer staples continue to go up, it's not a very good sign usually, right? It usually means that people are running into safety areas of the market rather than aggressive areas of the market. So that's the S&P, which didn't really do much and is still below the 50-day moving average. The Qs are a little bit of a similar look here, right? Again, try to get going today. I thought, hey, maybe we get to the 50-day moving average. That would be great. But nope, not so much. So again, let's see. Maybe we get into March and we get some buyers coming in. But as of now, we're just not seeing that. All right, we already went over IWM. Let me see if there's anything else that I'm kind of, I want to keep it kind of short and sweet. Semis had a good day today. They were up 2.3%. You know, it was a very interesting first half of the day. Things looked pretty good, you know, and I was looking at, I'll just give you a couple stocks that I was looking at for today. Things did bounce where I would expect them to, right? Team, which is a nice software company, came into the 50-day moving average, took out this VPOC, bounced, just didn't close on the highs. This is another company that I was looking at too, which is Bros, right? Which again, I thought that this went up too much. Comes in, retraces about half the move. Trying to hold in here, right? Right at this 20-day moving average. A couple other names I was going to go over. Dash was another name that I was watching today. Did retake the 20-day and the 5-day moving average. Again, didn't close on the highs. I traded a couple things that I thought were a little bit different. I try to just stay out of the weeds of tech. I traded this HWM. I'm still holding it. I took a target. Again, just have to take targets right now in this market, but strong earnings name. Nice hammer yesterday, some follow through. Another name, I thought retail names acted pretty well today, but again, not very many names closed on the highs. ONON came down to major support, right? The shoe company, all the way down to the 200-day moving average, bounced. So again, I'm holding it for now. It's above the 5-period moving average, and let's see if it can build based on that. There was one other name I was going to mention too. I'm forgetting what it was. While I'm thinking of that, Meta was another one that I talked about. Nice bounce today. Let's see if we can get above the 5-day moving average. Got out of that streak of down days, which is nice. So again, I think that there's going to be some interesting things. You know, I'm watching the financials. I find it very interesting what's been going on within the financials. Like some other sectors too, there's rotation within. PGR, again, the defensive's pulled back a little bit. I still like this. It's above its trend, 5-day moving average, even though it's got a little bit extended. But I'm watching, you know, let's see what the banks can do. And I'm holding some JP Morgan. JP Morgan, again, didn't have that big of a move. It was up 0.5%, which outperformed the market a little bit. IBKR is another name that you've heard me talk a lot about. I'm still holding IBKR, just an inside day. Didn't make it outside of the value area, very unfortunately for me, but I'm holding these things because, hey, this is still on an uptrend, but it has a lot more work to do. And if it breaks this 50-day moving average, that would be time for me to leave the trade. All right, guys, that is it for tonight. Have a great evening, and thanks for watching.